Reefer Settings 101. I'm going to basically show you how a reefer unit cools or heats a trailer, and then a little bit of the cool settings that we have saved on it. So I'm going to draw a picture of the display, just like we're looking at the side of the trailer. You got an LED screen. These are buttons, and then there's 4 black ones. So these are blue buttons. These are all blue. And there's 4 black ones across here. This is a start-stop button. What that does is start-stop or continuous. So it'll tell you start-stop will run just like a house AC will or your heater will, and then continuous, it just runs forever. That one's a defrost button. These carriers work pretty good, so you probably never actually have to touch that button. This is your menu. That's the one that you're going to want to know. Menu. That's your up arrow, your down arrow, and your equals is just like enter. So a couple things, if you want to know to get to certain settings, a lot of times you'll hit the menu and then this box will change and you can click some buttons. We'll come back to that in a minute. So basically how a reefer trailer works is it sucks the air out of the trailer into the unit, and then it either heats it or cools it, depending on what the reefer needs to do. Runs it back out the chute that's attached to the ceiling, and then blows that air out against that back door, and it bounces off that back door, and then it runs right back through the trailer. So basically it's just exchanging that same air all the time. So when you've got a load sitting in here, that air is blowing through it and coming back in, it's going around and around and around and around. Normally when a trailer turns on, and our compressors are the big compressors, our X7500s are the big compressors, you're going to see on that display a box temperature and then your set point. Pretty self-explanatory. Set point's what you want it to do, and box is what that sensor is reading in the trailer. Your box temperature sensor is actually sitting right up here by the unit. And then the set point obviously is where the reefer's set to. So let's say your box, which is reading right here, is saying it's 70 degrees. And you've got it set for 20. That reefer's going to turn on, it's going to cool and blow that air back out here. Well, something you need to know, especially when we're hauling produce, for an example I'm going to show you in a minute, is you're actually going to want to know what this temperature is blowing out of that chute. Well, our reefers with the big compressors may actually cool, so the difference between this air and this air right here could be up to 25 degrees colder. So if it's 70 coming in, it could be 45 blowing back into the trailer, right? So you're going to go, why is that important? I'm going to jump ahead to a produce load. Let's say this has produce in it. Produce can't freeze or you ruin it. So let's pretend we got a load of lettuce or something that's pretty fragile. It's got a lot of water in it. Everybody's gotten lettuce that put it in a bowl and it turns brown pretty fast. So it's super fragile, right? So if I had my reefer unit on start stop and I had it set at 34 degrees and I just had it on normal generic, I just went and bought this brand new trailer, has no safety features in it at all, and I put it on start stop, and let's say I got the box temp down to 50, which remember that sensor's right here, and that box temp is at 50 degrees, but the air blowing back out of that trailer, because I've got the big compressors, could be 25 degrees colder, right? Which means that air blowing back here would be 25 degrees, right? So now that's 25 degree air bouncing off this back door, hitting this product right here, and touching all this product that's touching the air inside the trailer across the top. All these boxes feel 25 degree air. Probably going to freeze them. Plus your temperature recorder, when they put a temperature recorder, they usually stick it to the wall right here on the back. That's also feeling 25 degree air. Automatically rejected this load and somebody's writing a big check. A lot of times you'll see on produce has to be on continuous. So that's where that start-stop button will get switched to continuous. Because produce or plants have a lot of water on it, and if you don't have airflow, the water actually dries out. So constant airflow actually creates moisture and keeps moisture on the plants. But same situation. Let's say that earlier scenario, I did what I was supposed to, and I put it on continuous with no safety features, and I set it at 35 degrees, and my box temp is 50 degrees. So my reefer's still cooling because I'm out of what they call out of range, which is a couple degrees above and a couple degrees below your set point. So I'm still on max cool. Again, with my big compressor, that could be 25 degrees colder. So again, I'm still putting 25 degree air back in that trailer. So I'm still potentially ruining the edge of that product and that temperature of that temperature recorder. Now on continuous, once it gets down to the set point, let's say it's 35 degrees, that reefer is going to cool to 35. It's not going to shut off because it's not on start-stop, right? So it has no choice but to keep running. So it doesn't just go into limbo. What it does is it'll cool down to 34.9 and goes on below. And it'll go to heat, and it'll go to 35.1, and it goes now I'm above, so it'll go cool. And it just does this all day long. And that's what keeps the temperature close. Problem with that is when you first turned it on, it's too cold. And then every 6 hours, your trailer goes to defrost to melt the coils that are freezing up inside the unit. So every 6 hours, that trailer is going to go to heat. It's the only way to defrost is to start making it heat. So it might warm up to 50. No big deal as far as, because it's for a short period of time. It's for 10 minutes, by the way. 10 minutes it goes to defrost. Problem is once that goes back to cool after it's defrosted, we're right back to that scenario earlier that is freezing the load. So there's a lot of things that I don't like about the factory settings. So we have all these cool things called IntelliSets. All they are is little miniature programs that we've worked with Carrier on that put safeties in them. That display that I drew earlier, you got all these blue buttons, right? 4 black ones. This button right here says menu. You push the menu button, and this first black button right here on the display is going to come up the word IntelliSet. What that does is when you click that black button and it comes up the word IntelliSet, we have a list of programs, and I name them something that makes sense. So the very first one is called factory default. That has to be there. That's really no safety settings, nothing. It's just like came out of the factory. Have to have that in case we need to do something outside the box we don't have a program for, or it needs to be in the shop and they don't want any safeties on it at all. But the example I'm going to show you is I have one that's called produce for hauling produce loads. Now I have a lot of these we can go over, but that's one that I'm going to use for an example. And you're going to go, okay, why is your produce setting so special? Well, on our produce setting, safety feature in there that's called Fresh Protect. You don't have to care what it's called, but just know there's a safety feature in there. So this trailer with a load in it, air's coming in there. On your IntelliSet called Produce with a safety feature in there. Let's now say the box temperature is down to 40 degrees, but it's only set to 33. And you go, well, that compressor might be blowing minus 25 degrees colder, right? So that'd be what, 15 degrees? I just ruined the load. Not with my IntelliSet Produce. That's got a safety feature that will not let this air coming out of this unit, this air temperature right here, we'll call X. Never, ever, ever, ever will it be any colder than 33 degrees, because 33 degrees is 1 degree above freezing. So no matter what this box temperature is reading, when it comes in here and blows back out, that air will never be colder than 33. Because if it ever was 32, potentially, this product right here could freeze. So that's a safety feature that it never allows this air temperature that's swirling in here onto this load and touching that temperature recorder will never be below 33. It's impossible. Now, so that keeps us from ruining the load. Now there's a side effect. This is where our drivers get nervous. There's my load and my trailer. 115 degrees outside with the sun shining down on this load all day long in the desert in the middle of the afternoon, right? And I got my trailer set at, let's just pick a number, doesn't matter, 34. And let's say this product when it was put on the trailer is 37. So it's a little warmer than where I'm shooting for, right? So it's warming this air up as this air goes in here and it circulates. It's warming it up as it comes through this product. That 37 degree product is warming up this 34 degree air just a little bit by the time it comes sucking back up into that sensor. The other drawback is so is 115 degree sun shining on that trailer. So all this air in this trailer, even though they're well insulated, is constantly heating up, heating up, heating up, and heating up, right? So guys will see a set point of 34, trailer's been loaded for 5 or 6 hours, they've been running down the road, it's hot and crap out, and they go, my box temp is 40. It's on high speed, it's running, it's doing all it can, and it's barely dropping. You know my answer to that? So? Now I'll be concerned if they go, it's 40 now, and then later it's 41, then later it's 42, then later it's 43. Okay, now we got a problem. But what that's telling us is a couple things. Remember that sensor's right here. That's your box temp. That's after it's come through the product, after the sun's baked on it through all this right here, right? And the fact that on produce, Intelsat, this air right here is only 33 degrees. So it's 33 when it comes out, gets to here, it's probably already 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. There's nothing you can do about it. Because the product's warming it up and the sun's warming it up by the time it gets here. That doesn't mean it wasn't 33 touching your temperature recorder and touching this product doing everything it can. But if we were to take it off of produce, go, I got to have this box temperature colder, because they're thinking that temperature recorder and they're thinking that product, and they're not thinking that product's not touching 40 degrees. Maybe this right here is, right up here, maybe. The temperature recorder's back there. So they'll go, I'm going to put it on factory default. I'm going to put the reefer temperature down to 33 or 32 because there's no safety, because I want that box temperature to drop. Oh, it'll drop all right, because you're going to get rid of the safety features, and pretty soon you're going to be blowing like 15 degree air in there, and you just ruined all this product, and that temperature recorder is going to show it, and they're going to just reject the whole load.